Hell, it's Base Trade TV.
So before we even get into the thick of this, guys, there's a whole slew of reasons I don't like this map for map 2, but we'll talk about those in a moment. Currently down one at the moment, spawning the bottom right-hand corner of the map from my insanity. It's going to be the blue Terran player, Jjakji. Top left corner of the map, leading 1-0. He's green, he's Zerg, also from my insanity. It is, of course, Sacsri. And I think this is the one people were really expecting to start off the series anyways. I mean, Jjakji is damn good. Anyone who tells you otherwise hasn't seen enough StarCraft 2, but Sacsri playing like a beast, especially ever since he won DreamHack recently. But yeah, these spawn locations work out a little, I'd say, unfavorably for Jjakji. Foxtrot Labs, we're seeing it picked a little bit more now due to the cross-spawn locations, but these locations specifically, as we can see here, guys, leave a very wide natural base. Walling this off, no matter how you do it, gas to wall to wall, not going to be easy for Jjakji. We're seeing a lot of the Korean players institute a lot of all-ins on this map with early speedlings, and if not all-ins, at least early aggression. If you guys did not catch the big one, first off, all the VODs are now on YouTube. Yeah, every time we saw life on this map, guys, it was speedlings with more speedlings. I think one of the things for Jjakji, though, wow, 540 APM as a Terran player. What are you doing early? Building a barracks? Sorry. As a Terran player, like, if you can get the momentum, this map plays into your favor because there's a lot of weird engagement areas. You can put widow mines in cool spots. There's a lot of funnel spots and chokes Zerg have to go through. And, of course, if someone wants to be bold enough, we saw Solar try to take a gold base versus Hearthstone very early. Very awkwardly exposed base that Jjakji could sit Marines behind the mineral lines. I mean, there's a lot of pluses and minuses to this map, but I gotta say, I think there's a few more minuses for this to be map number 2 on Jjakji's behalf. But at the same time, too, a lot of people getting I see check-in round up there. That delay on stream, but don't forget, guys, Jjakji did opt to open that last series with a 2 racks, and if you're gonna go with cheese in StarCraft 2, no matter what race you are, you're really not taking the game into your own hands, and more like putting it in your opponents. Whether they can hold you or not, whether they're going to let you win, is what it tends to be a majority of the time. But Jjakji's playing it safe this time. We got the Reaper coming out. I think one of the big things Jjakji does, and I really like this in StarCraft 2, no matter what race he's playing against, he is one of the more diligent scouters. What I mean by this is, like, we're probably not going to see him go 3 Reaper heavy, especially on a map like this, but my favorite, of course, is anytime you watch this guy versus Protoss. But, well, you do have a little bit of a ledge over here. There's also this weird hallway here. I don't know. It's lots of funny spots for Reapers to get in and around on this map, but first Reaper does get in. Now, of course, he's doing a bit of harass to the drone line, as you would expect, but well, this does chase a couple workers off of mining. Ooh, I like that spawning pool location, actually. That's going to keep the Reaper from really being able to fully utilize his mobility around the mineral line, so now forced to fight on and around creeps. So it doesn't quite work for him, but does get a Zergling kill to start. Not too bad. Here comes that queen, though. He's got to be careful. Oh, this Reaper is probably going to die. Oh, he knows it. He knows it. Oh, my God. He's trying to juke out. For those who didn't hear it right as he died, he was out of combat just long enough. Or, sorry, not out of combat, rather. Didn't take damage for just long enough for that healing to have kicked in upon his, like, last steps, his last breaths. Had he been able to regen a little more health and kite the queen around, he would have tried to then juke past and go down. Losing this Reaper early for most players, you kind of write it off as, that was just miscontrol, not a big deal. He's going to macro behind it. But for Jjakji, like I said, he relies so heavily on scouting information and knowledge in the game. I mean, last game I think was a good example of that too. We saw him scanning a lot. You could argue, well, he's got a 3rd CC, he can afford to do it. But he was scanning because he didn't know. Now in StarCraft 2, of course, knowledge is power. We all know this. Scouting information, blah, 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 map hacks. But I think the thing for Jjakji, though, is he does, I wouldn't say rely on, it's not like a crutch per se, but it is something where he accelerates his own gameplay based off of knowing exactly what his opponent's doing. So my voice kind of cracks there because I'm 12 years old going through puberty. But yeah, so Viking's going to come out. It's going to clear up some of the overlords that are floating around his base. It's going to allow him to scout a little bit too. But as we see, there's nothing here. He's got Hellions to work with. This wall is way too big. Lings are going to be a bit of a nuisance, but I like that Jjakji chose to keep these at home rather than going across the map. Like, you could argue, well, the best defense is good offense. We see it all the time in StarCraft 2. Not when there's a wall off this wide. Not when it's this crazy. I mean, this is, like, This is what frustrates me. I look at this and I'm like, hey, you remember how Daedalus Point, the ramp was way too big, so they had to shorten it because it was total BS trying to play on that map? This is kind of like, that's what I think about when I look at Deadwing, or not Deadwing, Foxtrot Labs, sorry. Love Deadwing. I want to stress that was a big misspeak. Deadwing's probably my favorite map to watch and observe on. But yeah, so he cleans up the links here. Not the end of the world, but a pain in the ass, to say the least. Jjakji also did not go for that faster third, and that was a big scout for Sacsri to see. A lot of the times, of course, you just kind of assume a Terran player throws down that third behind it, but seeing that there's only two for the time being, well, not a big tell, is kind of the indication that Jjakji's looking to do a little bit of damage here rather than, you know, going for bunkers and playing the turtle game. So we do see, of course, this Viking has rallied up a couple of overlord kills, going to get a third one as well. These Hellions will catch a queen slightly off guard. A couple of links too, chipping away at these rocks. Jjakji says, let me help. I don't know if he was intentionally going for that creep term or not. Pretty sick if he was, but the reason Sacsri is so desperately trying to take on these rocks, guys, is of course he took his third behind it. So Jjakji, while he's not confirmed that yet, probably has a pretty good idea after seeing the dedication trying to knock those down. One of the queens getting really low, but so are the Hellions, who decides to disengage. Layer tech on the way behind us, of course, Stim, Marauders, everything's coming up roses for Jjakji behind us, but we'll see if the draft can do some damage. I do like his aggression in this game. This is not a map where you can afford to play defensively. Not for too long, at least, and we'll see how this plays out. That Viking, though, 3 kills, not too bad. He almost got a 4th. Lots and lots of lings, but of course with Marines and Marauders behind these Hellions, there's a little bit of a steady DPS here too. So not too bad. Oh dear, my AC appears to be crapping out. I'm gonna have to look into that after. Rip Rifkin before this thing explodes. Alright, so Queen gets cut off a creep, but this is a little unfortunate because the Hellions are now in a position to save these units. Does pick up in the medevac though. Good control here out of Jjakji, and he's gonna keep stimming forward. Catch that Queen! Ling's getting fired alive to Sacsri, finds himself a little bit awkward here. Nothing to defend with! Drones are gonna be pulled into this, but you never want to pull drones in a Hellion fire. It's just helping your enemy out, but Jjakji is sitting in here instead of kiting with the Hellions. Maybe not so good in that regard, but the Marauder's still standing strong here. They got a lot of health to work with. He just goes for the drone line, racking up those kills, up to 11 workers killed. Probably going to load the Marauders here towards the main as well, behind enemy fire lines. And the Zerglings come out are because they're desperate. You know, he's got the Roach War, and you might be thinking, like, why doesn't he make Roaches? Because Sacsri's kind of trying to save, every bit of gas possible for those Mutalisks as soon as that Spire completes. Now, Jjakji loses pretty much his forces, all of his forces, because he really doesn't have a whole lot left at home, but let's see, 16 workers killed is not too bad. I think economically speaking, he killed a lot of lings. Yes, 69 lings died. I don't know why that number's funny. I'm immature. But with 69 lings in the hole, that's also a lot less banelings that are available. So this, why? No! What are you doing? Why? Get back inside! Get back inside! At least raise the depot. Oh, Jjakji, why? Oh, Jjakji, why? He's got stim, but he doesn't have combat shields. I don't know if he can save this wall. He needs to pull SUVs. He doesn't have any units to fight with. He knows this too. Pulls the SUVs to body block for the Marines. I don't watch football, guys, but I imagine this is kind of what it's like. Turret's also going to go down. This, oh, I don't understand the. Wait. I know there's action going on, but what? Yo, he's controlling these two. This isn't a mistake. He's like, you know what? Screw it. I can't kill the depot. Go for the SCV instead. I don't know what that was about, but yeah, this is what bothers me for Jjakji. I mean, the idea for him was to move out to protect the third, but he didn't have any units to move out with, so it didn't make sense to make that move in the first place. Widowmine's also going to get picked off here, but this might allow him. Yeah, he says screw it. It might allow him to get the turret up. So for him to go for the gold like this, well, granted, a little bit greedy. Yeah, it's punishing him more than helping him right now. He's got to get that command center out of there. He's got a lot of Marines he can stim forward with. Finally has combat shields available to fight with. Stim 1-1. I mean, he's in a pretty good spot, speaking technologically. Because let's not forget, Sacsri spent a lot of gas on these mutas, prioritizing that over top of getting his own upgrades, so his 1-1's late to the party. But Jjakji's going to lose the orbital! What is happening? What happened to Jjakji? Jjakji is so good at StarCraft 2. Did he just, like, lose his mojo? Was there some sort of weird, like, vampire effect? Like, Sacsri joined the team and just, like, absorbed all the good energies? I mean, I'm not trying to call Jjakji bad, but he is making some very questionable choices this game. I think is the way I'm going to phrase that to be politically correct. Like that command center landing again, like he had that out of there, he was lifting, it was safe, the Mutalisks were trying to disengage, but then Sacsri smelled blood, so while I'm getting a little bit of Jjakji's case, we got to give Sacsri some props too. Let's not forget, he's fighting with Mutas against Widowmines, +1 Marines that have Stim in large quantities. He doesn't have Baneling support underneath this, in fact, he doesn't really have much Banelings, period. So, I mean, props to him for getting damage done, but this is Jjakji kind of giving it away. Backs away from this. Widowmines are not in a range to get that sweet hit off. Oh, that APM though, and that focus fire to Jjakji, that's what I like to see. That's the Jjakji I know and love. Starts pushing across the map to clean up a lot of this creep. Gonna get his sort of map control back. Swings in here from the left side. Drops in the main while this is going on too. Didn't quite catch that, but these Marines are shredding the drone line. Oh, there's nothing here. There's just Zerglings flooding in. Here comes the Banelings. Jjakji, will he focus fire, or is he just going to run for it? Looks like he does split to do some damage to the Mutas, knowing that this is going to be the end of it, but pushes towards the natural, and there's really only Mutas left at this point. Sacsri has nothing to work with as the Lings come in. Oh, these 3 Banelings could be God mode. No, they don't quite get the hits they need, and the Mutalisks are going to come back to eventually clean this up, but Jjakji... Oh, Jjakji does the damage. Jjakji does the damage. He's picking up a couple of the Mutas. He picked off almost all the Zerglings and Banelings. So round 2 of the Marines are here on the front lines, already ready to go, while Sacsri has struggled to clean up that first wave. GG's going to be called, and game number 2, I don't know how or why, is going to go to Jjakji. Well, let me rephrase that. I know precisely why, but Jjakji making some crazy mistakes behind his excellent aggression. Either way, this makes a very entertaining series as we'll go into map number 3 here in a moment.